Please put your phone on silence. Please have it quiet. I will invite the Deputy Minister for Press and Public Affairs to mount the national podium and officially invite the official spokesperson of the government, Mr. Piah. Mr. Samuel.
Good afternoon to all of you. I don't know whether my eyes are deceiving me, but I think the attendance here is very massive today. And I show you are here because yesterday was a very eventful day. The President, His Excellency, outlined his administration's agenda for the ensuing year. And that was it. We want to welcome all of you back to the press briefing here at the Ministry of Information. Today we have a sole speaker because on this Thursday we'll be hosting the EU ambassador. She'll be here to talk about some of the initiatives that the European Union is involved with. But today, our distinguished Minister, Honorable Piah, will speak to you on a number of issues that are very important things that we have to discuss here. Following the speech from the President yesterday, we will speak to what is necessary and not necessary to dwell on the distraction being pushed by some of our friends from the opposition. So Minister Piah will speak to you on important issues about the progress of the government. And then after that, we'll provide you an opportunity to get a couple of questions from you, and then you will respond to the question. But let me thank the leadership of the Media Reporters Association. I see the number of journalists, the cameras here have increased. We're not surprised because this is where the government of Liberia speaks from. And we will all be happy to welcome new faces to cover the government press briefing on a bi-weekly basis. That being said, we do not take pleasure in always reminding you to turn your cell phones aside. The other day, just after I spoke, somebody's phone was ringing because of distraction in the home. Let us try to make it as orderly as possible because when we mount this podium, the interaction is not just between you and us, but the general public, Liberians in the diaspora, the whole world is watching. Because what you are doing here is live on the internet. So let us not allow those petty distractions to take away from the very good relationship that we have and for the good work we continue to do for the country and the people of Liberia. That being said, I will now stand on existing protocols to invite the voice of the Liberian government to the podium.
Okay, it's good to be back in the Charles William Hall, the platform for government communication. For those of you who made it to the annual message. We want to say thank you for your presence and the coverage. And we'd like to encourage you going forward to refer to that event as the annual message, because that is what our Constitution says. I believe the use of sonar is an invention that does not correspond to what the Constitution of Liberia says. What the President delivers every year in January is an annual message and not a sonar. So thank you for your presence, your coverage. And as expected, we love the interactions that will come not only after the annual message. This is not unique to Liberia. In places where their governance system is like ours, is a traditional approach. And the way it's done is something different to talk about. But the fact that people will do so is an acceptable tradition that we encourage. In the USA, if you have a democratic president, after their State of the Union address, as they call it, the Republicans will choose an individual who will officially give a response on behalf of the Republican Party. If the president is the Republican president, the Democrats will also choose that individual who will give their response. So it's good. It enhances democracy. It only becomes problematic if the goal is not to honestly discuss the country and its development processes, but just to merely politics, then there's a problem. But whatever it is, whether it is meant in good faith because you want the country to get better, or it's all about politics, it is still good. For us, what we endeavor to do and what we always do is to have our interaction with you, the Liberian people, to be open, to be transparent, and to just be truthful. And in that line of wanting to be truthful, we would like to start our comment on the annual message from a point that was made by the president during the delivery. And I'd like to quote that point before I say what I'm supposed to say. In the message as it was written and read by the president, it says, Mr. Speaker and members of the legislature, nearly 3 years ago, I assured the nation that roads would be our focus, not as a slogan, but rather a commitment in connecting communities with opportunities. And it went further to say, in furtherance of this commitment, we focused on restoring key corridors and expanding secondary roads. We increased Liberia's paved roads from almost 12% to at least 20% and maintain more than 70 kilometers of major routes, unquote. This portion of the message is in honest contrary to the submission of the Ministry of Public Works. And here is what the Ministry of Public Works submitted. And whatever that information was, those developing the speech, those finalizing the speech, do not fall short of taking full responsibility if they make error. And as a responsible government, we admit that they did a mixed quotation far away from what the Ministry of Public Works submitted. And I think as of yesterday, they made the necessary corrections. So if you went to the Executive Mansion website, for example, you will find the actual submission that was made by the Ministry of Public Works, which I'm now about to read. And that submission was, in pursuant of this vision, and the vision is where it said, Mr. Speaker, we assure you that roll of the leaders. It went on to say, in pursuant of this vision, my administration has taken bold steps to reduce Liberia's paved road deficit from less than 12% to at least 20%, while simultaneously prioritizing maintenance of major road corridors to ensure that no vehicle stopped in the mud as promised during the inception of the administration. During this period of review, we have successfully maintained 783 kilometers of roads nationwide, restoring year-round connectivity across the western region from Broadway to Bapulu, the northern corridor from Salaye to Vandima to Menekoma, the eastern corridor from Tapita through Zwe to Kawieken, and the coastal access from Ikana to Greenville. These interventions have contributed to the reduced transportation costs, stabilized commodity prices, and meaningful relief to household livelihoods across the region. Yeah. So the actual story, as I just read in this portion, is the administration has taken bold steps, and those steps are meant to increase Liberia's paved road portfolio from less than 12% to at least 20%, which is different from the quotation that was made based on whatever it was with those who refused to speak. And I hope we've laid that matter to rest. The second issue that we want to speak to is the question of an unwarranted and unnecessary debate about the creation of 70,000 jobs. This society must open its eyes. You have a population that is over 5 million. And somebody created 27 million jobs out of 12 million. And you swallowed that, you accepted that, no debate. But you interestingly doubt that 70,000 jobs in 2 years are being created out of 5 million people. How? So what was even written in that annual message with regards to 70,000 jobs was just a desire to be conservative. But in reality are far bigger and far better. So I'll first start with what informed the 70,000 that was mentioned. Through the Ministry of Youth and Sports and the Liberia Agency for Community Empowerment, LACE, both institutions targeted the creation of 54,000 jobs. Now, if you read the President's message, the jobs were categorized: short-term, medium-term, long-term. That's what he says. And all of us should know what short-term jobs are. We should know what medium-term jobs are. And we should know what long-term jobs are. So what did they do with that vision of trying to create 54,000 jobs? They created 52,864 jobs. 19,198 of them were males, and 33,810 were female. What are the job types that they involved with? Livelihood and agriculture support, labor-intensive work on the Ministry of Public Works, small business support that allow people to establish themselves as entrepreneurs. Then additionally, under the Ministry of Public Works, they targeted the creation of 15,000 jobs. They created 14,038 of those jobs. So the target was 15,000, yes, they created 14,038. 11,270 of them were males and 2,768 were females. They were working with construction people on feeder roads, on gravel roads, on pavement roads that have been paved, on village access road, on the overpass bridge that is going on, and on major road corridors across the country. 14,038. Then, from our investment partners, that include B Mountain, Ashilo Metal, TrueLiberia, Firestone, Golden, Verodion, etc. And that's the private sector. 5,000 jobs were targeted. And during this period, they created 5,052 jobs. On our energy expansion program, by the LEC, you have the program that they call LESSAP, LESSAP, which means Liberia Electricity Sector Strengthening Access Project. They are basically involved in the distribution and expansion work of our energy program. They've targeted the creation of 1,000 jobs. They created 1,056 jobs. 786 of them are males, and 270 of them are female. If you put all these data together, it's around between 70 to 73,000. So that was what was projected. But the picture is bigger, like I said, and I want to also dwell on that, though we didn't report it. Under the Ministry of Youth and Sports, they have the Realize project. That project in 2024 created 5,000 jobs. In 2025, created another 5,000 jobs. The National Youth Service Program created 230 jobs in 2025. The National Cadet Program created 150 jobs in 2025. The Business Starter Support Program created 100 jobs. On the Public Work Program, 240 jobs. Consultancy with the Realize project, the PIU Village Asset Road project created 1,543 jobs. Drainage cleaning program that are simultaneous and ongoing created 1,977 jobs. Feeder road routine maintenance that got people employed and working there regularly, 2,155 jobs. Community gravel road improvement, 162 jobs. Overpass bridge construction, 450. Ongoing major road construction all across the country, 7,751. The LESSAP project that I just mentioned, 623 plus 385, they gave you the number that I announced earlier. The real estate project in 2024, 1,775, and in 2025, 1,395. Another phase of the real estate project, the 7,919 in 2024, 9,999 in 2025. Consultancy, PUR service provider business formalization program, 2,000, and it covers a levelable project among other, 2,500 in 2024, 16,839 in 2025. Ministry of Commerce on the levelable project also, and the project I just named were on the Liberia Community Empowerment, the research and RESPAC at one LEC, the rest at name first with ROW is under the Ministry of Public Works, and the ones that I just named is under the Ministry of Commerce. Then under the Civil Service Agency focusing on healthcare workers and educational workers in 2025 created 3,400 jobs. Under the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, their Women Empowerment Program in 2025 created 3,300 jobs. Their PUR consultancy program under that same ministry created 127 jobs. Then as I said, in the private sector, in 2024, B Mountain created 4,671 jobs and 1,904 in 2025. Certain group of companies, 2,386 in 2024, 813 in 2025. Ashilo Vital, 2,242 in 2024, 597 in 2025. Ashilo Vital, true companies that they work contractor, 4,105 in 2024, 697 in 2025. Firestone Liberia, 5,332 in 2024, 505 in 2025. Golden Petroleum, 2,211 in 2024, 536 in 2025. If you add these numbers, 2025 job creation was 38,141. 2025 is 61,965. If you project that they are over 100,000. We chose not to go into this to talk about it. We just limited it to the ones we referred that brought a 70,000 job up. Something that is far below what is being achieved, as I just read. And those who believe yesterday that 27,000 jobs will come out of 27 million jobs to come out of 5 million people, I very ones running around and say, how can you create 70,000 jobs? Isn't that interesting? All of a sudden, 70,000 now is bigger than 27 million. But we can understand where it comes from. There is an appetite for bad news. There's some energy to be heard. Because if you're on the other side of the coin and things are just getting to be done and you're concerned what kind of political life you have, you are desperate to create some. It's like a man who is drowning. If you're in a water, you can't swim and you're drowning. If you see plastic there passing by you one way, believe me, you can save it. And you realize that the deeper you will sink as you try to hold that plastic there. And you see the way I'm talking about these two issues. And I'm glad those are the two issues that we're talking about. Because what that tells me then the speech was good. If somebody can stay on their feet to speak for 1 hour and 25 minutes, and the only thing you get wrong with from there that 70,000 jobs, then it was pretty good. Then it's a reflection as to how this government is doing it. And we don't want to waste our energy on that. I'm talking about it because we don't want to set the record straight. But what interests us is not that noise. They can keep making the noise. As they're making the noise, if you continue your development projects, and those who are leading the development projects see them, then they can go ahead and keep talking. Maybe if somebody went to G4 where I live and go announce that the government hasn't done anything, if you're not careful, they will run beyond you. Yeah, maybe they will just. These are people who have not seen electricity in 40 years. They're sleeping on electricity every night. Then how dare you stand in front and say nothing is happening? And just as a matter of side attraction, I was watching my distinguished big brother, a guy that I respect so much, one of the best lawyers in our country. We all come from the same progressive background in Council of Tiawan. And in his interview, we were talking about, we were disappointed that the promotion of Liberianization was not really raised in the president's speech. And you would think the man who criticizing and talking about that Liberianization would be one African soul that the president did when he was speaking. But you are in Kosu and Thai and talking about Liberianization, not country plan. Interesting. If I want to criticize people about promoting things of Liberian value, and the man I'm doing that criticism to is in a beautiful African traditional country called Czech. But I am all busy attired in a Western dress code. I don't see the contradiction before I even offer the criticism. But it's all part of what I'm saying. People believe that they gotta call attention to themselves by not acknowledging progress. That when you criticize, then people take interest in it because people are looking for news headlines. That's how they think. So if I criticize, they will give me more attention. If I go commend them, they will say, oh, well, I get commendation everything. So due attention was not paid. You're talking about that Liberianization, the president didn't do much over here. You're doing that advocacy in Yoruba Coast through the time. So we're not going to be running around with them. When it comes 10 years, we'll be talking about what's going on. Isn't it true that right now as we speak, those of you who come from Cape Town, actual pavement work has started on your Medina to Rawasco road? I've never seen Kota set the foundation of the country. Isn't that true? If you lay across the bridge, all the way down, going crossing Simba Bridge, isn't it true that a road that has been a single lane road, but almost non-existent since the days of the war, as we speak, it's being developed into a 4-lane road with effective drainage system being built. Isn't it true that in Nimba, Bone, Lofa, and Bassa, 124 villages are being electrified using the CISG connection? Isn't it true that in the counties that were named by the president, 3,700 plus, almost 800 plus street lights were installed in these places that brought visibility and life? Is it not true that for the first time in the country's history, you're not far from having an overpass bridge? Is it not true that we are about to dedicate a brand new broadcast complex of the Liberia broadcasting system, never seen before in the history of the country? Is it not true that for the first time the country is on the verge of inaugurating a reference laboratory that will prevent many of us from traveling to the places we go just to seek diagnostics? I remember one generally asking me over and over here, I don't know who was that, I said, yeah, you're doing plenty, you're electrifying the places, but consistently I see no effort on the Japanese freeway that I used to call Somalia Drive before. Is it not true that our entire corridor has been lighted, quality street lights? Is it not true that a country once upon a time seen as a rogue state, where its officials were described as plutocrats and received sanctions left and right? That picture has changed, and Liberia is providing leadership globally, including the seat on the UN Security Council. Isn't that true that regional organizations are trusting us and they bring in some of their institutions here, the MOI Development Center? Isn't that true that unless in the past the civil servant cry because we refuse to pay their salaries on time, that they're not just being paid on time, but they didn't pay regularly? Isn't that true that the president said that for the first time in the history of Liberia's existence, you can now have a budget that crosses the $1 billion line with a $1.2 billion budget? Isn't that true? Isn't that true that after you had Compact 1, and for 6 years, every effort to get Compact 2 based on bad leadership, bad government, eluded us? Isn't that true that just 1 or 2 years we got Compact 2? And by the way, as the president said in the annual message, the area of focus for that second Compact has been identified. Much of the expenditure will be made in the energy sector, because we realize it's a key bounding constraint to growth and national development, and that the rest of the funding will be shared basically in investment initiatives that will boom the economy and create more jobs. All we left to see is the amount of money. Isn't that true that all of these are happening? Isn't that true that because of the way we behave and governing the UN system in the next 4 years, we spend $883 million a year on development initiative? Somebody tell me it's a lie. Isn't that true? I see roadblocks all over the country. And just yesterday, while the president was even speaking at the day before yesterday, the government and the Arab Bank for Economic Development, Piah, they signed a financing package totaling $30 million to upgrade the Salaye to Konya Road in Lofa County. In addition, Piah, through a grant of US $700,000, will support improvement in health services along the Banga to Vonjima Road corridor. So they're not just giving us money to build that road. They want to improve health services along that line. That collaboration between we and Piah underscore Piah's continued commitment to Liberia's infrastructure development and its integrated approach to enhancing both transportation network and health outcomes in the country. Is that not true? You were right here. The country was governed by one of the political parties whose leader was a sports icon. So when you're ready, when they banned the SKD, you were right here when that SKD remained dark until just recently when Minister Bangalo and his team restored electricity that enabled us during the country to play some of the games at night. That whole thing collapsed on the celebrated soccer icon. So you're living progress. You are seeing progress. You're feeling progress. It does not take an opposition leader waiting for the president's annual message to mount a podium to tell you why you should already know. That's Zoom one came out and said civil servants are being treated bad. If they're not civil servants, they don't know why they call civil servants. And you sitting there listening to them and say, well, I want a different element talking about you very referring to the category of people that I found accepting. So yes, let's listen to them. Their discourse is okay. They will not drive our direction. We're not following them. They say one single made laws. When you hear nobody hear by you, you keep quiet. But when Sherry hear, I hear by to him. I face blow, he face blow. Now fighting. And everybody knows Sherry and Mr. Piah fighting. The Sherry throws blowing and walk away. And next thing you see me doing, I stand over there doing something positive and not fighting. People follow what I'm doing that is positive. Right? And say, oh Lord, walk minister. Yesterday I was fighting in the street and everything. That man walking away will make me to maintain what I am. A public servant who should be a respecter of himself and of the portfolio he occupies and will not be tempted by anybody to go make throwing blow a career. And that's the approach in most cases we give these people who just hungry about talking point. In that same vein, Liberia and the EU, as you may be aware, had this agreement in the fisheries sector that costs around 25 million. And it's a grant. Anytime something is a grant, you should be happy as a country because they're not bringing more debt and you got free money. So Liberia and the EU signed a grant financing agreement worth 25 million to strengthen artisanal fisheries, the value chain, and improve livelihoods. They will also enhance food security across Liberia's non-coastal cities. The project aims to improve cold storage, egg-making facilities, and fish handling infrastructure, create jobs and reduce post-harvest losses, increase incomes, and strengthen household welfare in coastal communities, support institutional and human capacity development, that is fishery training at universities and community colleges, and the decentralization of NAFTA. It is a project grant. It is not a loan. And the Minister of Finance highlighted the EU reliable partnership and noted that Liberia met performance targets in 2024. He emphasized that its grant nature and focus on empowering Liberians in the fisheries sector. Sarah Segwin, the Director General of NAFTA, also sees the agreement as a milestone for inclusive growth and sustainable fishery. The reforms will include 25% reduction in canoe lessening fees, market access initiatives, enhanced effort to combat illicit, unreported, and unregulated fishing within Liberia's coastal water. Luna Depressed, the EU ambassador reaffirmed the EU's commitment to the artisanal fishing communities. That project aligns with the arrest agenda. It aligns with the national fishery policy and also with the EU Global Gateway strategy. It emphasizes fisheries' role in livelihood, in nutrition, and economic resilience along Liberia's 600-kilometer coastal road. And another thing I know you will take interest in and maybe you want to raise as an issue with the question and answer period. Let me get ahead of it before that happens. The profession you are in, journalists, you must be a respecter of the people you serve, not just yourself. So let's assume I'm a journalist and Sherry, so sorry for keep making references, but Sherry supposed to give an address. And somebody gave the address to me as a journalist when Sherry is yet to speak. What does this say about me? That I would choose to distribute what somebody has given me illegally to the public before Sherry speaks. Yeah, maybe you feel at that point you are ahead. You want to talk about everything, you can get whatever you want. Maybe that's your interpretation. But it also says a lot about who you are. what discipline you have, how ethical you are as a person, what standard of integrity you come with. So I must state clearly that it was disappointing to have noted that TrueLiberia means it was. Some way or somehow the president's address was in the hands of some people before or during the period you were delivering it. The executive mansion and the Ministry of State is looking into that matter, because that kind of attitude is unacceptable. If you find yourself in the public space, your conduct and behavior and everything you do must be aimed at protecting the sanctity of the place you are. And the leakage of a presidential message during or before delivery is the highest degree of unethical and unprofessional behavior anybody who exercise in public service. The way Daniel noted that this place is packed, I guess it's because you read after another message, you have all the credit issues, so you decide to come. And your president, Mopolo had engaged me the other day and said, Minister, you can bring the put in your top the time for question, and no plenty time you'll be rushing us. So same as 1 year today, it's already almost 1:30. I believe 30 minutes of interaction from your questions will be enough. But let me read what the Deputy Minister of Law from the Judiciary. And I'm told it's from the Office of the Chief Justice. The Office of the Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia informs the general public, members of the media, and the international community that a fraudulent WhatsApp account under the number 0887-43-5460, 0887-43-5460, and mobile money number 0889-592189, 0889-592189 are being created by some unscrupulous persons using the photograph and identity of His Honor Chief Justice Yami Kwekwebese Senior. The perpetrator used this fake profile to contact several prominent Liberians on the false pretense that the Chief Justice's wife was celebrating her birthday and that the Chief Justice was therefore soliciting financial contributions. This impersonation attempt was only exposed after several vigilant citizens privately contacted the Chief Justice to verify a suspicious request. The Office of the Chief Justice wishes to make the following clarifications. The Chief Justice does not and will never solicit money from the public for any purpose, whether related to personal celebrations, to birthdays, or official functions. 2, the Chief Justice's wife's birthday is in September, not January. No celebration or fundraising event is being organized by the Office of the Chief Justice in January or at any other time. 3. The Chief Justice does not use any Lone Star or MTN mobile number for official or personal communication. Any phone call, text message, or WhatsApp communication claiming to be from his owner through such number or numbers is fraudulent. 4. The Chief of Staff to the Chief Justice is Anthony Edwina D. Vacun, a female official. Any reference to a male, Emmanuel Wapo, as Chief of Staff or as a staffer within the Office of the Chief Justice is entirely false and part of this criminal impersonation. Any social media account, email, SMS, or phone calls requesting money on behalf of the Chief Justice, his family, or the judiciary is fake, is criminal, it should be ignored and reported immediately. The Office of the Chief Justice strongly condemns this calculated attempt to exploit the reputation of the head of the judiciary and to mislead unsuspecting citizens, such as undermine public trust and carry serious criminal implications. The appropriate steps have been taken to document the matter and ensure that the individuals involved are identified and held accountable under the laws of the Republic of Liberia. The Office of the Chief Justice remains unwavering in its commitment to maintaining the dignity, independence, and integrity of the judiciary. The cooperation of the public is requested in reporting any suspected impersonation or fraudulent activity. For any verification, please contact Anthony Edwina Vacun, Chief of Staff, Office of the Chief Justice, Supreme Court of Liberia. And that was for the Office of the Chief Justice. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Any Looking at the length of the line, we'll take one question on it, please. Introduce yourself and the institution you
So thank you. I'm embarrassed to give me for defense Liberia. Definitely I have a series of questions. Unfortunately, I've been limited to asking for no
If you want exclusive, you can pay for it. I came out of the
I don't think this is I don't justify, but yes, I don't really know, but you did say that approximately 100,000 jobs were created in nearly 2 years. And then I did listen to the President Arnold message from yesterday that 100,000 jobs were being created in 2 years and then 2 years. In terms of statistics and numbers, it is conflicting. Can you respond that the President was in error about the numbers and figure that was announced on yesterday?
You were here? You were ready in this room?
I was here.
I think your question was here for the whole man.
Thank you. But the stars can remove of OPF and so many sort I would like to appreciate you for that clarity.
I was the conversation in the street yesterday. It was okay?
Oh yeah. So my question had to do with seeing judge creation issue.
Yes, sir.
How does the judge creation strategy align with the country's long-term development and deglobalization goals? Thank you.
I want to say thanks to Mr. Piah for the updates and some clarity being made. My name is Nat Lisa, report for Star TV. My question has to do with the 108,000 farmers that have been given not recent on Star TV. So my question has to do with the 198,000 farmers that have been given aims for the government. I want to know where are these farmers located and how are distribution being made to the 8,000?
So my name is James M. Piah, and I work for Greater Georgia Recording Marketing County. Honorable Developmental Matthew Piah, thanks for your hard work. Evidence is here. All journalists assigned here and testaments of what is unfolding here. We will give you applaud for what you have been doing over the years. However, Minister Piah, we all witness the departure of tourism. And with tourism going from your ministry, MOI, with the creations of 70,000 jobs by the President of Liberia, President Joseph Boakai, something evident will be seen somewhere in the corridors. To you, Mr. Piah, how many persons have you been able to employ at the major cultural affairs, major influential, since you took over, with respect to salaried grade of your employees at the major information?
Thank you. You want to see for the movement even out of the former. I have two concerns. So on Friday, I listened to the Minister of Transport, and he said they will be the only entity in the Republic of Liberia that brought with the responsibility of issuing travel licenses. They still have the LTM, so as a government person, I want you to please be clarity on that.
They still have what? You say they still have what?
I said
the traffic management something?
LTM still.
Good morning to all, and thank you, Minister. I'm not so much interested in this controversial 70,000 jobs being created that the government is cleverly defending. My attention has been drawn.
Government defended Dolly, then they should not be Dolly.
My name is Alex Ismo, and I report for TrueLiberia television. My attention has been drawn to the statement made by the President yesterday in his sonant message about inflation reduction. So the President said inflation reduced from 10% to 4.5%. Would you mind telling the Liberian people the latest official inflation figures and explain how they compare to previous quarters? Thank you.
I'm Antonio from work for Dara Online TV. Mr. Piah, is there any plan for the government to implement reconciliation?
Good afternoon, my name is David K. and I report for TrueLiberia. Mr. Piah, yesterday the President spoke about the issue of health. He spoke that his government has improved in the health sector. But last night we had Senator Snow on Spoon FM, and he said at about 5 to 6, the John F. Kennedy Hospital can be empty. There is no nurses or doctors. What do you make of the statement coming, or do the government make of the statement coming from Senator Snow?
Good afternoon, my name is Emmanuel Mopolu, and I report for the East area. And so my question is the issue of the job creation. You know, the intent of the annual message is to report to the Liberian people through the legislature. But then the president has told them that I was able to create 70,000 jobs. But from your analysis, Mr. Piah and all of the jobs that were created, according to you, the government chose to just mention 70 out of 100 and all of that. But if we are talking about reporting to the people just what you have done, then why the president chose to mention 70 instead of the rest of the 100 that you mentioned? Thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Piah. My name is Christopher Besman, and I report for Inside Liberia. Yesterday, I said on the nation address, the president stressed a lot of key issues. I believe, in my opinion, these progress are very significant, ranging from the 78,000 long-term jobs being created in different sectors, and that of the 108,000 farmers benefiting from an agribusiness. But then, reading through the entire speech of the president, I'm concerned, and one thing I didn't see was the president didn't mention anything about concrete step regarding the year 2026. So where are we as it relates to concrete step of the government on the arrest agenda 2026? Thank you.
I didn't get a question, President, for this one.
So I said, with the many significant progress being made by the government, I didn't see anything mentioned in the speech or heard anything from the president as it relates to concrete step for this year. Thank you. Concrete step being taken for this development.
My name is Abinadi Okuyi, and I report for the September. I must start with telling the government of Liberia thank you for the level of transformation that they have brought to the country, which is visible in some part of the country. But my concern has to do with this, because the students of the University of Liberia are concerned, because according to the president yesterday during his address, he said that he funded the renovation of the state-run university, and some part of last year, at the end of last year, we saw students criticizing the government and even going far as painting, what they describe as painting the building. So can you just please show clarity on that? Thank you.
Good afternoon, I'm Larry Estelle, and I report for People's Africa. The president yesterday spoke for 1 hour and 25 minutes. He said other things, health, education, and the list continues. And normally, if the president speaks, the normal party has been just people listen to the president through the radio or iPhone platform. But I want to recommend, not to get a question, that moving forward, let the government, if the president speaks or if the president makes a statement, especially sooner, whatever it is, let the government be able to reduce the speech into a brochure where in every aspect there will be photos that will be distributed across the country so that the people themselves will see for themselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good afternoon, my name is Desmond Wino, and let me take this time to also thank you, Mr. Minister, for the refurbishment of the Stars Beyond Press. It is important to note, as an independent journalist, to acknowledge the great job being taken by the leadership of the senior management team. So the question, specifically, the annual message of the president, it is about the president reporting to the Liberian people about the state of the country's economy, social and economic affairs. That affects the judiciary, the legislature, and that of the executive. But Mr. Minister, the president spoke for 1 hour, 25 minutes, and lengthily I listened. What I didn't get from the president's speech was specific institutional reform in the judiciary. So I don't know as to whether the government, over the past 2 years, has there been any tangible or permanent institutional reform in the judiciary that the Liberian people would love to know from the government? And the issue about
one question only.
Afternoon, my name is Piah. I do work for University of Liberia. As a speaker, I appreciate you so much. More to the people how you
yesterday during the president's annual lessons, he spoke on a lot of things and some beautiful things. But one of the most important one that I'm not here we only hit on public debt, public debt. Can you speak on that a little bit so that we get better understanding?
Wait a minute, see that. You see it, you get it?
No, I'm not getting it. I'm ready for that.
Okay, sir.
Thank you. Those were all the questions.
Now the first spend So the first man I asked the question, I asked you whether you were here or whether you're one side or inside. I provided the explanation and gave the data that supports the 70,000+ jobs that was announced in the speech. The only thing I did further was to say, based on additional information we have, the job record is even far beyond that. And I also wanted that to be supported by data, not just verbal. So there were the two approaches I presented to you. Then you come by and ask me, say, the president said there, and you say there is not a contradiction. You want to tell the president directly? And you know how to say you want to use me? No contradiction, chief. What the president reported to you, I explained to you on a different spreadsheet. But I told you that it's even beyond that. And by the way, they say they created 70,000 joy of X. You were going to say 100,000 years, when you were going to lose. Maybe like second action we're going to hire the capital building. Because everything that is positive makes people vex. And I don't know where it's coming from. And like I said to you, people created 27 million or 5 million people in get vex. Anybody who believes in themselves, that even our private actors, that all the construction work you see going around in roads, in energy, in etc. Before anybody coming to you explain whether they are producing jobs, anybody who believes that these things are only taking place and no job is being created as a result of it, that person then believes that the person doing those work are all good or unjust. Go on the route to support people who is being faced. Are you not being you see there doing the work? Not unjust, not spirit. Are they not employed? So we have said that yesterday was the question of provided data. I have given you the data for us without the briefing. You can go over my NEMA and here. What we talk about that is what we're doing. Not annual message debate. It's the only thing you're waiting for to be comfortable in making noise. One man can make noise. When you made a lot, nobody answer, you get tired, you sit down. And that's just it. When the president dedicated the street lighting system on the RIA highway the other day, there were some gaps that were left. Some opposition lawmakers, former lawmakers, bruised and kicked out of office, transformed into, I don't know whether a talk show host, whether a journalist or whatever they are, going car and were doing live. When they reached where they turned the camera around the other side, they reached to the gap that we announced were there, then they show it, right? Everything that was needed to fill that gap arrived, and the work to fill the gap is ongoing now. So maybe in the next 2 weeks you go down that road, you wouldn't see the gap anymore. That's what matters for us. Not somebody making noise about why somebody said they created 70,000 jobs. I want to tell you what the people doing, what the government is doing, what kind of roads they're building, how they're expanding energy. Because I'm living it. Having lived in Broadway since 2011, and it's only now under this administration that I can go to bed, I can get generator sound because you see there. That's progress, man. And that's 70,000 jobs a day. Darius Yes. In fact, one of the things that was not very brought to the public is for a good number of months now, the president constituted an interagency job creation steering committee. And that steering committee has been meeting, they've been working, and they're on the verge. And you see, sometimes the discussion I can be very reluctant to have it. A country that's already almost 180 years, we're still discussing strategy. It tells you something is wrong. Even past administration, one reason why they're not able to give proper statistics on job is because the system and structure for doing it has never been defined. We're doing that now to make it easier for anybody coming after us to know where to go when you're looking for data on job creation. They will have a piece of instrument that they will see as a strategy to help them create jobs. They won't throw away at that point. They will develop a different one. That will be their call. Mr. Nad, maybe I need to have a special arrangement so family can take you to the agriculture minister. So you want detail of where the 198,000 support area they want there, the man who runs the sector, who provided a report that made the annual message. He can be the best man to explain to you. But because of bureaucratic problem, I can tell family to care you just walk through, just sit down your lecture, and you get your answer. How many questions have been employed by the Ministry of Information? The Ministry of Information does not employ people. What have you done about salary increase? We don't determine salaries of people. Employment as a function of the civil service agency. So if I had a chance to employ people, do you think I would go look for all my friends and family and get a job the way people say job in there? Have I yours? So now my work to employ people. When we have vacancy here, we make it known to the CSA. The CSA now has made the process better to the extent that those who have to be employed in the civil service, they got to say test. You fail the test, you can't come. You pass the test, you can't. So I can't do anything about employment because I'm at work. That's CSA work. I can't do anything about salary because I'm at work. That CSA and finance ministry can agree on carrying people pay up. If they give us that power, we abuse it. Because when I'm putting Haji salary up, maybe I affiliate out of Haji salary. Maybe I want that on my salary. So you give me power to do it. So it's a good thing that we don't do it. We got a dedicated government entity that is responsible for employing people and to determine the salaries that people make. Transport Ministry versus the traffic, what?
Traffic management.
You know, we started this administration without debate. The traffic management who had a concession. The transport ministry on the other side, they are there, they have their responsibilities as inscribed in the law that created the transport ministry. I know they went to the legislature several times for hearing. I know the matter went before the president. And I know for a long time, we haven't heard of any conflict. But if your question is informed by reliable information that both groups are fighting over them performing the same function, I'm not sure about that. So I will have to make some inquiries and get back to you at the next press conference. I don't want to say something that I don't have the facts on. The current inflation rate is 4%, down to 4% as the president announced. It is the current. If you go to Google search or whatever, you will still see that. You want other conversation that is going deeper into the economic variable, everything that is responsible. I can say a comment for you to be a CBL governor. any plan for reconciliation, we, as a country, as a government, we inherited the beautiful work that was done by the TRC. It sets the roadmap as to what we need to do as a country to reconcile ourselves. But see, what do you think that people work? People will just tell you what you're supposed to do. If I'm making confusion with a particular journalist in this room, and two are not willing to see each other, why are you thinking reconcile a paper? Reconciliation comes from one's heart. So no matter what kind of policy people will think about, what plan, what strategy, it's easier if we as Liberians among ourselves just choose to let go of the different issues we have with one another. It will fast track reconciliation. It will not matter whether you have a strategy, you have a plan, it will just happen. And when you're saying you had election, I know some people still not speaking to Mokolo because you won the election. So that people will read from information to reconcile when everyone speaks. I want to disappoint the person who asked me about Senator Snow. That question is not worth my time and I will not answer it. But I know that question will be offensive, very offensive, to the doctors who are making sacrifices in a different public hospital for a government official who lived on taxpayer dollars for years to tell them that as soon as 5 o'clock they can abandon the hospital, meaning they are medical professionals who are heartless, who don't care what the patient is supposed to say. I get them to listen, they will handle it. It's not for me to say because I'm not in JFK, but I think it quite represents an insult to the decent men and women who are making sacrifice day and night to care of the human myself. I'm standing here, I'm talking about 4 years, the only place you got to come in to the hospital. And we don't have respect for those individuals who are making sacrifices in those places. And it's questionable as to how we became public servant ourselves. Judicial reform. Our constitution provides for 3 separate but coordinated branches of government. One branch of the government cannot interfere with the work of the other. So judicial reform is the responsibility of the judiciary. And I know the judiciary has the 5-year plan that includes the reforms that you're concerned about. They formulated it. They will execute it. Not one branch of government doing it for the other branch of government. Somebody asked about the president talked about a plan in 2026. The annual message is meant to give an account for the year that have passed. The only part of the annual message that contains something that is talking about the future is your legislative agenda for this year. So when you're reading it, you remind them about the legislative agenda you had last year, the extent to which you think is being executed, and then announce what your legislative agenda for the new year is. But you don't go there to say, next year will be a road that went to Secretary Piah, next month we'll do the one, we'll do that one. Nobody, it's meant for you to account for what you've already done. I'm meant to tell people what you will do. Public debt. And I asked the fellow who asked the question, the president announced what the total debt portfolio is. He announced what has been paid domestically and what has been paid internationally. Don't be lazy journalists. If you didn't listen while he was speaking, go back to the speaker, or online, or over Facebook. You'll see a figure there. Is there any other question that I'm not answering?
Yeah, I think just a reminder. I was asking, you were giving clarity and then you said over 100, but I was saying the content of the speech saying...
I was not giving clarity. I think that's the first question I answered.
Mr. Piah?
We announced that over 70,000 jobs are created. The first paper I read was the data that supports the 70,000 jobs. But to tell you that you should not even question the 70,000 jobs, it's far more than that. I gave you additional information with all the statistics that pointed to 61,000 plus 38,000, which is closer or below over 100,000 jobs. So I'm only saying those who prepare the message, when they focus on our 70,000 jobs, they will be conservative. But even the 70,000, you question it. So in both cases, I provide you not just with the number, but the data to support them. Because those who are questioning the 70,000 after the president spoke, they say they want to see the data. They have it now. If they have ways to verify it, then we'll verify it. But if their goal is all these things should not happen because they're waiting for failure, then they'll be disappointed because I just told you that we're narrowing down on the MCC approach once we get the grain, the energy, and interventions that create investments and jobs. So once capital expenditure are made in bringing investment here and they come with job creation, you get more and more professional and good jobs. And then those who don't want jobs and who get angry when you talk about jobs, we have more disappointment to face.
Minister, the year President Piah funded the renovation of the University of Liberia.
So the president did not say, I talked to my friend Ronnie yesterday because he was, he had a highlight of his program that he came along with. The president said they have provided funding for the renovation of the university. He didn't say they have renovated the university. If you give funding to the university for its renovation, the undertaking of the renovation is a responsibility of the administration of the university. So if you have any doubt about what the president said, the best thing for you to do is to go to the university president and say, is it true you got money from the government to do renovation? And when they answer you, yes, we have, then you now ask them, so when you're starting? He didn't say they renovated the university. He said they have provided funding for the renovation of the university. Until the university administration come and say, no, that the president told them, true, he get no money, or government get no money, then you don't have an issue.
Thank you so much. So, the president's speech is on the ministry of speech. Thank you. As I announced earlier, we have the EU ambassador here on Thursday. So we look forward to seeing all of you.
And many of you are young journalists who goes. Many of you are young journalists, but there are people who been in the profession for that kingdom come. There are people you can learn from. The people who've been there and back, they've seen, they've conquered. Somebody keep quiet, man. Or you tired listening to young girls. So whenever some of those kinds of people pass around, it's good to introduce them to you, because maybe you don't know them. So one name that was always on the radio and other people follow was the name JKB. I'm told JKB now is at Lux definitely at the university. He just walked through our way. Also, I just told you to be formally recognized. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So, thank you.